Dear friends, hello. Today I invited a person from Saudi Arabia who is doing a very important job. This is Dr. Hibah Shata, CEO of Maharat Learning Center and Child Early Intervention Medical Center. I think it's very important to have that person today because people who are doing social business, they are, during this pandemic, they are suffering even more than other businesses. And we need to help them and we need to know how to support them. And also today is the National Day for Saudi Arabia. And Dr. Hibah is from Saudi Arabia. So happy to see you, Dr. Hibah.
Welcome, and thank you very much for the Hero Initiative. I think it is very important, and I'm very proud of being a Saudi woman who have been working for the last almost 30 years toward achieving a very important goal, that is including children with special needs in mainstream schools and in the society.
Oh, Dr. Hibah, thank you so much. Even today you are wearing the green that reminds the flag of Saudi Arabia. Did you do it on purpose or it is just a coincidence?
Yes, I'm celebrating this day because it's important for us to showcase our success and our achievement. Many people don't know much about my country. A lot of people think that women are behind and they are not allowed to work. They are not educated. They are in control of the men all the time. And the truth is that there are so many women. The only problem is most of the people from Saudi Arabia don't like to come on the media a lot. Our societies respect family values a lot, and exposure of women to media is really not very common. And that's why all the success is hidden inside the country. But I would like to voice that sound and let people know that we have a lot of achievement. We have ministers, we have women in the cabinets, we have women who have reached higher levels of education. This year we had the first woman to be a director of a university. There has been a lot of change in the last 20 years. But in the last 3 years since Prince Mohammed bin Salman and King Salman came over, many initiatives and maybe hundreds of initiatives have been launched to support empowering women in Saudi Arabia.
I know that, for example, for women now, it's allowed to drive the car, and for many years it wasn't allowed. Is it the truth, or still it's not allowed for women to drive the car?
I mean, it's a choice. Some people don't like to drive. Personally, after being driven around with drivers for so many years, many women don't like to drive because you have to find the parking, you have to drive in a very hot weather. But it is also for other women who don't have drivers, for women who's working, who don't want to feel that they are, they are in control of their own time. It is an enabling decision. It might not be all the women driving, but there are a lot of people now are able to do it. Whether they want to drive or not, it's a choice.
I see. Interesting to know. Since I have a lot of friends, ladies from Saudi Arabia, and I know that they are tamuha jiddan. They are very, very ambitious. They want to study. And by the way, they're studying very good, sometimes even better than men. So my first question to you, Dr. Hibah. You opened the Center for Children, Early Development Center, and it was quite unique in United Arab Emirates. It was the first center like that. Why you did it?
In 2000, I'm a dentist by my profession. And in 2007, I wanted to expand my business. So I studied in University of Dubai, I did diploma. And at that time, also, my daughter was diagnosed with autism. So instead of going for expanding my dental clinic, I started Child Early Intervention Medical Center. When my daughter had autism, when I learned that she had autism, she was 18 months. And I looked around, there was no services at all for that age. There was no diagnostic services, there was no support, no school will take her, no nursery, nothing. And I had to make a very difficult decision whether to stay or move to another country where these services are available. being established for a few years, it is not easy to start again in a new place. So my husband supported me and we started Child Early Intervention Medical Center, and we availed all the services that a child need under one roof, and we brought behavioral intervention to the region. At that time, there was only one center providing or two people doing freelance behavioral intervention, but it was not very well structured. So we found a partner in the States and we brought them in, and we started to structure a very unique ABA therapy, they call it applied behavioral analysis. And these programs are evidence-based. They are the most effective with autism, but they also work with other disabilities. And because we didn't have manpower at that time, because there was no behavioral therapist, and still up to date, most of the university graduate psychologists, they graduate special ed teachers, but behavioral therapist does not exist. So we structured a training center where we develop people to become behavioral therapists and grow. So not only they are hired as junior, but they grow to become seniors, case managers, supervisors. And during this path of learning, we also managed to get the children into school, manage them to be functional. We have one in the university today, and we have also employees in the market who we are supporting. So we started from the
Dr. Hibah, I have a very small question to you, if you allow me. You know, I know that if before autism, nobody even knew what that. It was like a new, unique word. Autism, nobody knew. Now, unfortunately, there is such a big spread of that. Even they say, okay, the child is not autist, but he has autistic behavior. It became such a common word. What's going on? Is it like commonly spread?
If we want to talk about autism, autism is a developmental disorder. It happens in the first 3 years. It's diagnosed in the first 3 years of the child age. And it is a dysfunction of the brain activities. So basically, it affects the communication inside the brain. Now, why it is happening? There are so many reasons of to why. We really don't know much. That's why it's still a puzzle that people are trying to resolve. What we know that the functions of the brain centers are not working together. And the way we treat children is trying to reformat the brain, if I can say it's like a computer reformatting, by increasing the connection between the centers in the brain. So with repetition, our programs usually teach the child everything, the name of objects, his family, and we start by self-help skills and move him to academic skills, social skills, communication skills, until he is in the school. And in the school, we support him academically and support the socialization between his peers in the classroom. And then we follow that with executive functioning skills, theory of mind. So the child is able to understand emotions, understand other people's behaviors. And as they grow into teenage, we have to support them with programs for life skill and independent living until they reach university, where we have to support them in a different way. So as you see that each stage of the child development need a different type of support, and it's very important to have all these services available. And unfortunately, Europe, as well as the Middle East, these kind of services are not available. It's a big gap. It's very mature in America, but it is completely underdeveloped in a lot of areas of the world. If we talk about autism 20 or 30 years ago, it was 1 in 10,000. Today, it is 1 in 59. So almost every classroom should have one kid with autism spectrum.
It's such a big number.
Yeah, but the good news is if we start early intervention early, 40% of these cases can be included in the society without any support in about 4 or 5 years, if we start really early. And the other good news is that autism is the only disability that the child can move from moderate to mild and from mild to very, very mild.
So it's in a way little bit or not little bit curable. Tell me please, when you started this business, it was not a business for you, it was like a social project, or you made it business, you start generating money, because you're a business lady, you had your dental clinic and your mind is business mind.
Well, when we started, all what I had in mind is to get my daughter into school and get her the support she needs because it was not available. The business part of it came later because we realized the cost implicated and the amount of work we have to do to get the engagement of the society. We do conferences, workshops, we train teachers. So we had to put a lot of infrastructure there. In 2010, we had the children ready for the schools, but the schools were not ready to take the children. Teachers don't know how to interact with the child. They are afraid to take the child because they don't know if he has a behavior, how they will manage it. Principals were not on board. It was very difficult to put a child in school. And most of the parents had like visited 20 schools before they get acceptance in one school. So at that time, we started a campaign called I Want to Go to School campaign. And we started doing workshops to train teachers on how to manage behavior in the classroom, how to put an individual education plan, how to do the accommodation and modification in the curriculum. And for the schools itself, how to create the environment that is inclusive environment. And in 2016, Dubai Inclusion Strategy came out. And this is when I started Maharat Learning Center to provide the kids the school support services they need.
So it's like now you created one center and then you decided to take your kids to the next level, from the nursery, from the kindergarten to go to school, because there was no system how to take care of them. Yes. So you created that system. Yeah. There was nothing you created.
I told parents, if we don't find a university for our kids, I will establish a university for our students. It's important because we need to see them functional. We need to see them living a good life. I don't want my kid to suffer for the rest of his life. And I believe every parent have the same vision. So we put the early intervention. Then I started Child Learning and Enrichment Center in 2010 to give the children a place like a school, because their school will not take them. And they stay with us for 2-3 years, and then we move them into school. So we managed to include about 50% of our students. The others that we had, they became like 8 and 9 years old, and I could not put them in grade 1 or KG2 because of the gap. So we started to put the K-12 online. And that was an online program where they learn everything, but and they get certification and everything. But unfortunately, it was very rigid. It's not flexible, and I cannot put accommodations. So after that, we have stopped that program, and we moved to, after the strategy came up, I moved all the students to a school, and we made our first inclusion center inside the school where they go into a classroom, they take the same British curriculum, but modified to suit their needs.
Suit their needs. Dr. Hibah, tell me please, you did a very, very good job and very important job. Since before you, nobody did it in the country. And I think you changed the life of a lot of kids and a lot of parents. That means a lot of families. What about now? Because I know that even normal schools, they are suffering so much because everything changed. How are you surviving at the pandemic time? Yeah.
The COVID-19?
Yeah.
The COVID-19 has affected 1.5 million students across the globe. Special needs students are the most affected category because the e-learning is not suitable for them. They need someone to sit with them, interact one-to-one, motivate, give them rewards, and you cannot do that sitting in front of a screen. It's not possible. So the way we did it is we started telehealth, where the therapist will be on the other side of the screen, and someone from the home will be working with the kid to get the task achieved. And that meant that the parents will have to take the load of paying a person and the therapist, so it's doubling the cost. The second thing is that the resources, we usually do the resources for the child. We make them the social stories, we sit and we do artwork with the child. All this has been removed because it's not possible. Again, these children, a lot of the children have sensory issues. They need to jump, they need to go out, they need to, go to a place area, they need to swim, they
are very active. They are very active. They cannot sit like for hours, I understand.
In lockdown, it was a struggle for them. It was a lot of pressure. And we had time when people were not allowed to be in the streets. And it was very difficult for some families to control the children in the house without having, especially if you live in an apartment where there is no garden or no park nearby. So it was a tough situation for almost all the families. Going back to school is another tough situation because the children have been away from being with a group of kids, and now you need to integrate them again as if you are doing it for the first time. So it's a struggle. It's tough, but we have managed. We were sending therapists to the houses. We've put full infection control. They get masks and face shields and gloves, and we're hoping that we can continue to do that and be safe as well. It's a risk, but
Dr. Hibah, what kind of help now? I know that a lot of people are listening to us, and I know that your business is not normal business when you sell diamonds or you sell cars or you sell real estate. It's very different.
I wish I did that.
You wish you did that. You're not even a dental, a stomatologist, or a dental clinic or plastic surgeon, by the way, who are doing now very well. We have some plastic surgeons interview, and they said that people now, because they see themselves on Zoom, they want to do something with themselves. So you are selling actually the health. You are selling the life. What do you think? What support and what help you need?
I think the challenge today, not only for me, I think for everyone, is to survive the next coming 3 years, because people expecting that the economy will not be as great as it was before the pandemic. And Corona has affected our clients. It's our clients who own business have been suffering because of the stop of all the productivity, and accordingly the income has gone down. So our clients' financials have been compromised. Some people have been getting reduced salaries, some have no income, they lost their jobs. So this is a big challenge, to stand up again and rebuild your market. And also, I'm talking from a business perspective, it is the financial is one issue that is, I think everybody is suffering from, including all special needs centers. The second challenge is the regulation, because the government came with a regulation where you no longer can treat several children by one person, you have to do one-to-one only. So for many other, not us, because we work one-to-one, but a lot of other centers who work like 10 students with one teacher and 2 support, they can't do that model anymore. So their business have been, the way they are working, they don't have enough manpower to provide one-to-one, and in the same time, they cannot provide service to several children. The third challenge is the fear. Parents are not willing to bring their children to the centers because they are afraid of Corona. And it would be very difficult to have a child with special needs having to be hospitalized, sitting alone without any support. It's a big risk. So all this together make it very difficult time for any business who is working with special needs. For us, because we do one-to-one, we were affected during the lockdown, but now, alhamdulillah, we are back to recovery. With that, we had to do a lot of financial restructuring. We had to work with our employees to reduce our costs and reduce our overhead. And luckily, because—
How many people are working for you, Dr. Hibah?
We had, before the pandemic, about 120 employees.
Right.
So it is a tough situation because our salary is almost more than $1 million. And when you don't have that income every month, it's hard. It's not easy. It's very stressful also, because even we had closed down and we put people on unpaid leave for some time, you still need to maintain giving something for life support, because they need to eat, they need to go to, they need to live. So it was tough. And almost all the income that we made went to salaries. Now we are restructuring. We are putting our we launched a lot of programs. We launched Mom is My Therapist to support families who cannot afford to come to us anymore. So we train the mothers to become therapists in the lockdown. We give her—
This is very good idea. This is fikra halwa. I love this idea.
And we give her supervision online with the telehealth. We launched our telehealth where we give online ABA therapy, but as I said, they need to have someone to work with the child on the other end. We have launched our first, I think it's it's called iEducation, is our resource platform to support teachers, therapists, and families with apps and books and videos, a lot of resources. And these are free, and we don't have any sponsor. It's basically, we created it, and it's important to avail resources for families while they're sitting with the kids at home, to work with the kids. And so instead of giving him the iPad to play, he's given an iPad had to work on certain skills, reading, writing, comprehension, whatever it is the skill.
Dr. Hibah, my last question to you, because, I think you did impossible. You absolutely did impossible. You, even in this difficult time, created something that is even better, and maybe it will lead business to the new era, and it will be even better and even more professional, and it can help even more people. My last question to you is, from where you find this endless energy? I remember the first time I met you, it was maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, and there were the girls in the group. It was Women Able program, and you were the most active. You were coming to everybody, talking to everybody, and you are
I'm
very,
still
very
there. I
optimistic.
still like to do that. Yes.
So where do you come this optimism
from? I'll tell you what makes you get up every day in the morning and go to work and still come up with new ideas. When you have a lot of employees depending on you, a lot of parents depending on you, your family depends on you, your community depends on you, there is no chance for negative thoughts. There's no space. You have to be always energizing and inspiring others. So the energy has to come from the fact that you're responsible, you're accountable, you have commitment. And then the other part is the passion, because it's important that you do something that you enjoy. And I enjoy what I do. I love it. I mean, I am a dentist. I have masters. I have fellowship. I'm very well, established in my field. But it's not as fulfilling as when you work with special need kids and see them moving from being screaming and angry and not having any skills to have them successfully moving from grade 4 to 5. Or seeing the parents putting lipstick because now they can have a life. I remember the first parent we had, she was crying on the phone. She's telling me, I don't want my daughter to get out of autism. I just want her to stop crying because I cannot leave the house. I cannot leave her alone. So after a few years, maybe 4 or 5 years later, I saw her putting lipstick and traveling alone with her husband, taking a break. And I said, how is it? She said, my life have changed because her daughter now is able to work with other people, to sit alone, to do a lot of activities. And this is what parents want to feel secure, want to feel supported. I have to talk about the parent struggle because a lot of people don't understand what goes into a house of a child with special need. It's a lot of compromise. The fees that they pay for services is so high. The stress they go into because of the lack of support from the community, the lack of services sometimes, lack of free services. There is services in many countries are not free, and a lot of people don't have the ability to get these services. The lack of compassion, the lack of understanding. As I said, it was a struggle for us to put children in schools, but today almost 75% of our kids are in schools, even the one who are struggling to be in a normal mainstream school. In the inclusion classrooms, we have a different curriculum for them, but they are in school. And this is a lot of support to the parents to see that their children are able to be working and functional within a community of children like their own.
Dr. Hibah, you told today a lot of word able. And I think since we met with you at the program, which is called Women Able, you really do people be able, kids be able to develop, parents be able to trust their kids. These mothers put their lipstick because maybe for 3-4 years they didn't have a mood, they didn't have a time, and they didn't have a chance to do it. I want to thank you very much because what you're doing is maybe more important than anything else. And if we will not pay attention to people who are weak, who need, and you're right about compassion. Sometimes, you think why these kids are screaming, why the mother is not coming, why she's not giving a notice to the kid. But after you find out that it's so difficult and sometimes it's impossible, we should be passionate to these people because it's a different situation. And if we will be passionate, they will feel loved. So
True,
there is a lot about love here, you know.
And we also want to raise awareness that these fields are important also. I mean, a lot of people want to go to business schools. They want to go to study anything that makes money. It is very important that we also study psychology and behavioral, because these are very much needed. The number of children affected around the world are in millions. It's not like, one or two kids. You're talking about every country have its own load of affected individuals, and the pressure is a growing problem. It's not going down. The numbers are increasing over time. We don't know why, but we do know that environmental factors have not been tackled. So we still have them around us, and we will still have more kids to be diagnosed as we move into the future. And this is where it is important to set up the infrastructure to support the increasing numbers. And it is not logical just to increase the number of special needs centers. It is important that we are more into having them included with mainstream students, so that the numbers will not be accommodated. It's too much to have, all of them in special needs centers. It is important to have all of them in mainstream school. And now we are launching the transition to university program, because we want to move them to university. And we have the first innovation club with SABIC. And this innovation club is a place where children can come every Saturday and explore drone designing, 3D printing, and a lot of robotics and a lot of coding. And not only this, we have this program with the university where they can study math, physics, science, language comprehension, so that we can also support the families with extracurricular activities after school, so that their children are able to, again, I said able,
you will say able, Dr. Hibah. I want really our time is finishing in 1 minute. Just I want to tell you that you're doing very, very important job, and I'm happy that you're in such a great mood, and your ideas never end, from from this robotics, from this invention, to just simple care of the kids. You take all this route, and I will be happy to support your project very much. And you are our hidden hero. Thank you for being with us, and let you be not hidden. Let everybody know about Dr. Hibah.
Thank you, and God bless you and bless all your efforts.
Thank you so much. Good luck to you. Was very happy to see you. Thank you.
Bye.